Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing a what's next on Isaac Cruz, the former junior welterweight world champion, following his upset loss to Jose Valenzuela as he lost the WBA title on the Crawford versus Madrimov pay-per-view undercard that took place on August 3rd. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, Isaac Cruz, came in a heavy favorite. I actually predicted Valenzuela in this one. I told a lot of people that Valenzuela is much better than people are giving him credit for. He had a big height and reach advantage, and I felt like if he could hold off the pressure that Cruz was going to put on him, that he could win this fight, and that's exactly what he did. He outworked him. I felt he won 7 to 8 rounds, and I was solid on that. You know, the judges had it closer, but he walked away with the win. And Cruz, tough defeat, loses his title, but he went down strong. You know, he went out and he fought his ass off. So now the big question is, what's next for Isaac Cruz following this loss? And right now, from what all intents and purposes is, I guess Cruz had an automatic rematch clause in a contract, and he might be cashing in on that. His people have already come out and said it's very likely that they're going to fight again. And I'm not going to be surprised to see if that happens. But let's run through the rest of the top 10 and see what could be possible if that doesn't happen. We start with Devin Haney. Not going to happen. Haney is on a collision course for a rematch with Ryan Garcia next year. He may or may not return before the end of the year. But if he does, it's not going to be against Cruz. Cruz is coming off of a loss. Haney's probably going to want to go after one of the other champs like Liam Paro or Teofimo Lopez, something along those lines. And I think him working with Turki Al-Sheikh now is going to increase Haney's chances of fighting a top-tier guy. So I don't see Cruz and Haney fighting. Then Teofimo Lopez. I mean, it was a fat chance of Cruz and Lopez because of the rival promotions that they were going to come together, even if Cruz would have beat Valenzuela. Now that he lost, I don't think there's any interest there. Next is Jack Catterall. Catterall is fighting Regis Prograis in October. He's also with a different promotion. Kind of a bad matchup for Cruz because he's a slick boxing southpaw. I don't see it. Then Liam Paro, the undefeated, newly crowned IBF champion. He's again, different promotions, slick boxing kind of southpaw. He's a little more aggressive. He's not exactly like Catterall. He will mix it up. But he just beat Subriel Matias and likely going to make a home country Australia title defense in his first defense. And I don't think right now there's any interest on Eddie Hearn's side and Paro's side to get in there with him. Then you got WBC champion Alberto Puello. Well, Puello is tied to back-to-back mandatories. He's got to fight Sandor Martin next. We don't know when that fight's taking place. And then after that, he's got to fight, if he's victorious, got to fight Gary Antoine Russell. So I don't see Cruz and Puello being happening. Then you got former undisputed champion Josh Taylor. Well, again, he's a top-ranked guy going in against Cruz, who's with the PBC. Not likely. I mean, this is one of those fights, though, that I wouldn't be surprised if it came together because they're both coming off of losses, and I could see them, like, doing a co-promotional fight on one of the big pay-per-view undercards before the end of the year. But, again, that's granted Cruz doesn't get the rematch with Valenzuela. But I really do believe that Taylor would be up for a fight like this because he's coming off a loss. He wants to fight a guy with a name. And I think Cruz would be if the promotions would work together, which I'm a little on the less likely side for that one. But it's another one I wouldn't be surprised. Then you got Jose Ramirez, a former unified champ. Not likely. Ramirez is with Golden Boy, and it looks like he's on a collision course for Arnold Barbosa Jr., both Golden Boy guys. I don't think there's interest right here from these sides to link up. Then you got Sandor Martin. He's in line to fight Alberto Puello for the WBC title next, so that's not going to happen. Then you got Jermaine Ortiz. Now, it's not a high-demand fight. Ortiz had a good performance against Teofimo Lopez, almost pulled off the upset there, but he's a top-ranked guy, not a big name, and it's a bad matchup for Cruz in terms of southpaw. I don't see him taking him on. Then you got Subriel Matias, former champion. I'd love to see this scrap right here, but they're not going to get together for the fight. That's just not going to happen. Matias, the different promotions, they're both coming off of losing their titles by close decisions. But I mean, again, it'd be one of those co-promotional fights that would have to be put together on one of the pay-per-view undercards. Maybe it could happen, but again, Cruz has a direct line. If he has an automatic rematch clause, he has a direct line. So I think that would trump this fight right here. Plus, I don't think Cruz wants to get in there with another guy who hits as hard as Matias does, coming off of a loss. So I just don't see it. Then you got Gary Antoine Russell. He's got a mandatory he's got to wait for between the winner of Puello and Martin. But even then, I just think it's a bad matchup for him. I don't see it. Ishmael Barroso. You know, he's the interim champion in the WBA right now. I would love to see if Valenzuela gets, like, if he gets granted an opportunity to fight Tank Davis next instead. I'd love to see Cruz and Puello bang it out for the true #1 spot. And maybe the WBA will order that. But if they were to order it, I could see Cruz passing on that fight. So, you know, maybe not. I'd like to see it. I do think there is some kind of possibility for it. But right now, I got to lean towards the less likely. Outside of those guys, you know, Regis Prograis's fighting Catterall next for, you know, in a crossroads fight. If Prograis wins, maybe there's an outside chance they get together on a pay-per-view, but I got to say, because of the cross promotions, I don't see it. Arnold Barbosa, as I said, is in line to fight Jose Ramirez most likely, so I don't see that one. Gustavo Lemos, coming off a loss himself, would be a banger with Cruz, but again, cross-promotional fight. Richardson Hitchens, #1 contender, he's waiting around for a title shot. Kenneth Sims, #1 contender in the WBA, not likely that Cruz would want to fight him. Nestor Bravo, he's highly rated in a WBA, but this is one of those fights that would have to be made, and he's not a big name. Dalton Smith, highly rated in the WBC, but also a DAZN guy, Matchroom guy, so I don't see this one come together. So for Cruz, I really believe if he has an automatic rematch clause, his best opportunity, especially at an eventual potential showdown with a rematch with Gervonta Tank Davis, has to be a showdown, a rematch with Valenzuela, and he's got to, you know, that's what he should be focused on if he has the rematch clause, is going after that. If not, it's really kind of a crapshoot. I could see the PBC throwing him in there against just some random dude again to get another win, or I could see them maybe Edwin De Los Santos or a WBA final eliminator against Ishmael Barroso, the regular champion. I mean, the interim champion. So, going to be interesting to see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on Isaac Cruz, the former junior welterweight champ at 140 pounds, following his decision loss to Jose Valenzuela, where he lost the WBA title. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.